are all related.
They are all related.
You spoke about Nitya,
Yeah.
then you spoke about the duties.
Yes. Yeah. This is all related. And this is what we call human growth, right? Once that human growth is taken care of, then this ananda, already you are relatively nourished. What I am coming back to, if I begin to live my life, this deepest healing takes place when you become a contributor. I have seen so many people who have had sometimes very major personal losses. Some losses that you feel, oh my God, it's miserable. Okay? And I still find their eyes shining. And I said, what is it, in spite of all these, what is it that gives them that little sparkle in their eyes? 99.9% of the time, this particular situation or that particular loss in their life triggered them to major things. They got into, helping children, helping women, big interest. They maybe started small, but once they made that effort and say that I'm not going to be just totally, exactly, and constantly dwell on my loss and constantly work my way to what? Feeling pity towards myself, feeling like a victim, feeling why me? I'm going to help myself out of this and I'm going to do something proactive, right? And this deep sense of loss or whatever that I feel, I'm going to whatever has happened to me, in whichever situation or whatever, they decided to help. And the universe took them forward. They made that first step and the universe, and now they are, I just met recently, it was huge amount. Simple and the presence to be reckoned with. Because the person has helped oneself. So this is where it's extremely important to work at this level. That is relative nourishment. Once that process of relative nourishment is over, then what? Understand that the source of happiness is centered on knowing my true nature as lacking nothing. When you are relatively nourished, then that next step, which is Vedanta, will work perfectly for you. Because if you just stop at that relative level, still you have not finished the whole job. Just you've contributed, you have been good and you feel good, but still you feel that you are limited. Still you are limited to time, you are limited in terms of your capacities, everything that you do still will have challenges. Okay? The only way to get rid of this fundamental human problem is to know one's true nature. So both have to work simultaneously. When you come to Vedanta, there is one thing which is self-discovery, knowing I am Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, by listening to Shastra again and again and seeing how this is true. That is self-discovery. The other process is what we call self-growth. Self-growth requires all this cultivation of proper attitudes, proper emotions, handling everything at that level. Right? When both go, and one thing will reinforce the other. The more you take care of your self-growth, more your capacity to understand what Vedanta is saying about Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Without what? Distorting it or using it only in a limited capacity. The more you see what Vedanta is saying, more space you will have to initiate personal growth. To go hand in hand until the time that the whole puzzle of life is solved once and for all. This is what we call moksha.
Have you seen that happen with people as you
Yeah.
during the course?
Yeah. I mean, people have different degrees. See, there's a lot of effort one needs to also make towards your personal growth. Because otherwise what happens is that people use Vedanta for small. This is a very common problem. They use Vedanta for either small problem or they try to bypass their emotional life by saying, oh, I'm already full. It's almost like, trying to
Impose it on these.
kind of try to bypass or shortcut. It doesn't work. Very few people actually, this is why prayer is very important. You need to pray, you need to remind yourself that let me be connected to the truth.
To the
Truth.
To the truth. To the truth.
Truth.
So, how do you pray?
So
So like you were suggesting the meditation is putting a thought in your mind, or you say the shlokas, or what?
So in fact, the Gayatri mantra is asking for clarity of thinking. Clarity of thinking implies that what is, you see it as it is. That is the truth. You don't see it through your own coloring. So when you are asking for clarity of thinking, actually you are asking for being connected to the truth. Because most of the time, there is something which is happening and how you perceive it, you only respond based on what you perceive. And what you perceive is so highly conditioned by your understanding, and your understanding is not complete. And you start thinking that your understanding is right, even though it is so incomplete. So this is what leads to huge problems.
So one should sit and recite the Gayatri mantra.
Yeah, do Gayatri Mantra. It is one of the
I'm
most
learning that.
beautiful, at least 24 times in a day if you can do it. It is, I think it is the most healing, and it is one thing. You can ask for so many things in this world, right? One thing and it loses its meaning. One thing that you always will treasure having, and that is clarity of thinking. Never you can say, I've had enough. You need it all the time. Okay? And Gayatri Mantra is, I make my effort to have clarity of thinking. I need to expose myself to this knowledge and everything and make my own effort. The second is so many unknown variables that you are not even aware of that could be interfering. You ask for help through your prayer. Ask for clarity.
For that matter, you ask for anything that you're
Yeah.
searching.
Yeah, exactly. Because ultimately, you can go through any situation in life with a certain amount of composure if you have clarity of it. Many times, situations overwhelm us because we have no clarity. We try to change things that we cannot change, and we don't make enough effort to change things that we can. It's all mixed up. And which are our problems of projection and what belongs to other, we have no clarity. What I am projecting seems to be the
What
problem
the
of
person is saying, which
yeah,
is not true.
which is not true. Or sometimes the problem belongs to that person, but I impute it on myself. This is what happens to a child all the time. Okay? A child sees, let's say, this is a while the husband is mistreating, let's say, his wife, let's say. Okay? A child sees it, and the child immediately knows it. Okay? That, or maybe the husband and wife are fighting. So the child knows that there is something wrong with them. The child starts, initially, there is this whole thing that they too are doing it. Okay? Later on, they say, but in the vision of child, the parents are infallible. Parents are infallible because they are like gods to the child. So the child cannot handle the fact that the parents have a fault. Then the child slowly starts to impute on oneself.
They blame themselves.
Yeah, they blame themselves for what? Something that belongs to not their limitation. They carry so much burden for something which does not belong to them at all. Okay? So that means somebody else's problem, I begin to think it is my problem. There are so many psychological complications and entanglements that we have. It is just unbelievable. We need to be clear without, this self-depreciation. Please forget this so-called self-depreciation. Okay? I'm no good, I'm still angry, I'm this, I'm still. We constantly keep on judging ourselves. You have to be kind to yourself. And very cleverly intervene to help yourself. To get out of this entanglement. That requires skill, it requires time, it requires clarity. And you have to ask for it. Because otherwise everything is mixed up. So this is what is the whole pursuit, is that Ananda pursuit is, please don't think that by doing this nature of I'll be in some kind of a state where I'll be always blissed out. There is no such thing. You are just a sane human being. Yeah, you are just a sane human being who can handle things. Because things are put in perspective. If things are not put in perspective, small things become very big, big things are missed out in life. It is all about seeing things as they are. So, this is what he says, Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swatmanam Vijaniyat. One should know oneself to be this Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Now, the next question is, how, up to now we have seen what are the preparations for knowing the truth and who you are. Okay?
What are
Who
the
you are,
preparation?
yeah. And who you are is what? Not the Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira, Pancha Kosha. Then Pancha Kosha is what? Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. You are also free from Avasthatraya. Sorry, this. Okay. Waker, dreamer and sleeper, and you are Satchidananda Swarupa. That's what we have seen. Right? Now, the next question is, how did this world come about? You didn't create it. You didn't create your physical body. You didn't create your subtle body. You didn't create your causal body. You didn't create anything. Right? You didn't create the stars, you didn't create the sun, you didn't create the galaxies, and you find yourself in the universe which is already put together and it is already having all of this. So how did it come about? Okay, so this is where he asks. Now the next question is about the world and the cause of the universe. So here he says, Ataha Chaturvimshati Tattva Utpatti Prakaram Vakshyamaha. Now we are going to be shifting the topic, and the topic is Utpatti Prakaraha. How did this Utpatti is creation? How did this creation come about? Okay? So the creation, the way it came about is explained in the Upanishads and Gita, which is in Tattva Bodha, summarized in Tattva Bodha as the following. Brahmashraya Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti. So, we saw, who are you? You are Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman. What is the word Brahman? Brahman is coming from the root Bruhi. Bruhi means in the sense of big. Okay. So,
means, sorry? Ruhi means?
Bruhi means in the sense of big.
Oh.
Okay. So that's a root meaning. Now the word big is generally used by us as an adjective. Okay. So I can say this big pillow, okay, and I can say the big sofa. So the pillow when I say big and sofa I say big, it what?
There's no relativity.
It's relative.
Right? So that it gives a different bigness,
Perspective on business.
different perspective on bigness, right? So that means a big mountain, now if I say big mountain, it gives a totally different perspective on bigness. So that means big, when I use as an adjective, the bigness that it conveys depends upon the noun that it qualifies.
Subjective.
Right? So the noun decides how big.
Correct.
The noun is marble. Big marble is still this much only. Right? The noun is sofa. So the bigness, now the bigness that it conveys depends upon the noun that it qualifies. Correct? But in this case, the word Brahman is used not as an adjective to a noun, but as a noun itself. When it is used as a noun itself, what does it mean?
Big.
Big without any qualifying.
Qualifying. Relative.
Exactly. Qualifying perspective. So that means it is limitlessly big. Okay. So that means this Sat existence, which is awareness, which is limitless, is what? Big. Bigness without any limitation. And that is what is that? That is you. Where is it available to you? In your buddhi, as that knower who knows what? Different conditions of the mind and different conditions of the body. The only place where awareness is available to you is in your buddhi as self-evident mind. There is no other place that awareness is available to you, to be known. Okay? So now this awareness, which then you think is confined to your body-mind, it is something which has no limitation. This is what is Brahman. Okay? Now from this awareness, this is what the Upanishads say, comes the entire universe. This awareness has what we call the creative capacity. One thing that you must understand, that this creative capacity is what we call Maya. Unfortunately, when people have not understood what Vedanta is talking about, they translate Maya as magic, illusion.
Yeah.
We are not talking about illusion or anything. We are talking about a creative capacity. Okay. The capacity to project, which is what we call the Vikshepa Shakti, and within that projection there is avarana, there is a veil. Okay? This is what we call avarana Shakti. If you want to understand what is Maya, the easiest way to understand what is Maya is to go back to your dream. Your dream that you create every night when you go to sleep. Okay? Now, you, the person, has a capacity to create the dream world. You do? Right? So this is what we call Vikshepa Shakti. From your awareness, you will create what?
Dream world.
Dream time, dream space, dream characters, dream what? Mountains, rivers, and cities, the whole thing you just create. Is there any effort? You sit and you reflect and you say, oh, now today, how am I going to make this? I want to dream of Italy and I want to get the Venice, all these, cafe, right? You think about it like that? Just like that. This is Vikshepa Shakti. you project the whole dream world almost what? Spontaneously, just the entire thing. This is what we call Vikshepa Shakti. Now, having created the dream world, okay, then you become what? One character in the dream. In the dream, you become what? One character. And you, what happens? You start interacting with other dream characters. And depending upon what kind of interactions they are, you have what? Feelings, emotions, and this is why you can say I had a nightmare or I had a very pleasant dream. So therefore, while being in the dream, you forget the fact that the whole thing is only my creation. You understand that? You don't act in the dream world thinking that the whole thing is my creation. How do you act in the dream world? You identify with only one character in the dream and think that this is who I am and everything else is what? Outside me. While in the dream. So this is what we call Avarana Shakti. While in dream, if you knew that the mountains I have created, the rivers I have created, all the characters I have created, and I'm just having interaction, it will not give you what?
That's anxiety.
Anxiety. Right?
Like a movie.
Yeah, like a movie. So that means there is this, you have both. You have Vikshepa Shakti and you also have Avarana Shakti. Look at your dream world.
Avarana Shakti.
Avarana Shakti is the veil. A veil which makes you not see what the reality is. Which covers. It covers what the reality is. Okay. Now, at the level of the whole creation, it is exactly the same. Okay. This awareness has a capacity to project the whole universe, what? Time, space, and every object within time and space. And this is something which is exactly in keeping with what? Big Bang theory. Okay. One, time, space, and every object within time, space just comes about. So, there is a Vikshepa Shakti, and even though it is only one thing, from awareness comes all these things, okay? But the forms which are nothing but product of that awareness, what do they think? Like, I'm only this much. If, like Manisha says, if we all knew that everything has come from one source, and we are just nothing but different forms of one source, and that one source is limitless, we will not have any problem. Okay? But we, as though we don't know, we start thinking that I am only this much. This is what we call the power is not only to create, but within that what? There is a veil of ignorance.
With that power comes a veil.
Exactly. With that power comes a veil.
So with
right?
Vikshepa
And
Shakti comes
Avarana Shakti,
Yeah.
both are Maya.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, exactly, Maya has two kinds of Shaktis. One is Vikshepa and the other one is Avarana. Okay? But if you are stuck with Avarana Shakti forever, then you're doomed. But you're given the capacity to what? Remove the veil of ignorance. That's why it's a lovely setup where it's almost like a puzzle of life. You come on this universe, you find yourself in this whole big vast universe, you begin to have challenges and you want to figure out what is this whole universe about? What am I here for? Why have I come? Where do I go? What is the purpose of my existence? all these questions that you have will be will be answered. These questions that you have begin to make you want to remove the veil. You begin to inquire. You begin to ask questions, and you begin to connect yourself to some teaching which will make you see the reality in its true light. What are you doing?
Removing the veils.
Removing the veils. The teacher of Vedanta does not produce anything new. It only helps you remove the veil so that you can see the world as it is. Yeah, you have a question? Vikshepa is projecting, which is like how you make the world, no? You project. And Avarana is...
So you spoke of it as a dream, but you're saying that it's actually you are living in a dream, because
You feel that you are, no? Because
No,
you are
so
creating.
Have I understood this correctly? Because we have awareness, we have created this thing. And in that creation, we kind of forget that we have created it, so we start engaging in it with emotions, feelings, and get entangled in it. And
That's true. That is our personal creation. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the creation of time, space, and everything. Which is, when I'm talking about dream world, it is me, the individual, who has created the dream world. Right? Now, I'm referring to dream world to make you see how the power, which is Vikshepa and Avarana, it works. Once I give you an insight into that, right, then I move to the waking world. When I talk about waking world, it is not me, the person who has created that. Please understand, because I find myself in this, in it, right? I'm talking about that awareness which is free from everything. The whole world has come from there, not this little individual.
so
You see? Yeah. The bigger picture. The bigger picture, from this awareness comes the whole universe.
many forms.
Many forms.
And we are part of that.
Exactly. Absolutely. Right? But we are part of that and we forget it. We don't know it. So how do we interact with the world?
On a personal level.
As though I am separate from the world. I am fighting the world. World is different from me. Right? I am distinct. Everything else is distinct. So this is what my perspective is. What is the reality? The reality is all that is here is only that awareness which has the capacity to manifest as many, all these different forms. Right? And each form is governed through laws. So this is what the reality is. So that means now he is saying that that awareness has the capacity to manifest, and then you can ask, how come in the manifestation everything is not exactly the same? So here he says that there are Trigunatmika, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Okay? So Trigunatmika, Maya, Asti. So Trigunatmika accounts for all the differences. So anything that you see in this universe is a different permutation and combination of these three gunas.
These are different traits in
They're different traits, but in this text, what he says is that even the traits belong to the elements.
Oh.
Not only human beings but also elements.
every
He explains
being,
in every
every
the sattva, rajas, and
manifestation.
tamas and everything.
In every
In
manifestation.
every
So
manifestation.
you either have one of the three. I mean, you have have
In
one.
fact,
You
we
can
have
have
all
all
three.
three.
We have all three, but in different permutations and combinations.
You have to have all three.
You have to have all three, but in different permutations. That's why you can say somebody is really good human being, but doesn't mean that it's only sattva.
Doesn't mean
It
you don't
actually
have a demon in
predominant sattva, and tamas is still there, but it is kind of
controlled or dominant.
Yeah, exactly. Or in some lesser degree.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now he explains how exactly from this awareness what does it come. Okay. Here he says tataha akashat sambhutaha. The first thing that comes into being. Now here please understand it's not chronological or anything. It only means in terms of subtlety. Okay. From this awareness comes first the most subtle aspect, which is what? Akasha. In fact, Akasha, so many characteristics of Akasha we use to show what is the nature of awareness. Right? I showed you space and how it is not limited, how pervading everything, it is free from the characteristics. These are really the ultimate attributes of awareness also. So the closest to awareness is Akasha, the space. It is all pervading. It has no limits, it has no boundaries. Okay? But awareness is from where even the Akasha comes. So therefore it is even more fundamental than Akasha. So from awareness first comes Akasha, space. Okay? From Akasha comes Vayu. Vayu is air. Yeah. Air is again what? All pervasive and subtle. Then Vayu,
Fire.
Agnihi, Tejaha. Agnihi is fire. Okay. Then Teja, Apaha is water. And Adya, Prithvi and earth. Right? So you have 5 elements, which is from this awareness with its creative capacity, please understand, which is called Maya. Okay. The capacity is what? Vikshepa, projecting the universe. In order to project the universe, you need some basic elements. Those basic elements are what? Akasha, space, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi. Okay. 5 elements, and what it says is the whole universe is nothing but permutation and combination of these 5 elements. The whole universe. And how there is correspondence, he shows, right? Now Akasha itself, okay, has what he says, Etesham, it's 110. Should we continue or
No.
no? Now it's enough. Okay. It's enough. So now from these 5 elements, how does the whole world come about? It explains in that way.
Can we also in one class, maybe the beginning of next class, go through the meaning of the word?
I was going to suggest that too. If we can, in a brief way, I know that you did this and it took a long time, but
Yeah.
I will do it. You mind?
No, I don't mind at all. It's always a good reminder.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So now he just says that evam swatmanam, swatmanam is the I, is one should know it to be Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. Okay? So Atma is existence, Sat is existence, Chit is awareness or consciousness, and Ananda Swarupa, it actually means it is limitless. Okay? Now, why this, one thing which is very important, that if you don't know Vedanta methodology properly, when you read this Ananda Swarupa, people generally translate it as bliss. Okay? And this is not what the traditional teaching is at all. It only says that it is limitless.
Okay.
Now, if it is, there is a Taittiriya Upanishad which talks about Atma as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman. Okay. Satyam is Sat, which is existence. Satyam, Jnanam is Chit, and Ananda is Anantam. Now, unfortunately, what is wrong in taking it as bliss? The first thing is that you think that once you get to know your true nature, you are going to be in a state of bliss all the time. Okay? You are in some kind of a state where you have kind of transcended normal experiences and you are connected to some kind of a bliss. This is something which is destructive. Right? This kind of an expectation that I'm going to lift myself up from my normal range of emotion and I'm going to be in one state and I'm constantly connected to that state is something which is not what Upanishads are talking about. What is that whole unfoldment of what is the nature of Atma? Atma is not one thing other than everything else. When I say Atma includes what? Everything, it is all pervading. You can't give any attribute to that awareness. What did we see last time? That awareness is because of which I come to know my physical body, because of which I come to know my mind, which has range of emotions, right? From happiness to sadness to jealousy to empathy to compassion, any feelings, or whether it is highly cultivated feeling or some of the most basic feelings that we have. I mean, every mind is what? Having range of emotions. Okay? And Atma, if it is one of the emotions, then what? It is not so many things. So you cannot attribute all these variable feelings as what? The qualities of Atma. So therefore, Ananda, happiness, where does it belong? In the mind. Happiness is a feeling, it's an emotion which belongs to mind, right? Now, so-called bliss that we imagine, okay, that is also what? It is that happiness which is extended to a certain, what does bliss mean to you?
Happiness.
Exactly. Happiness, but in an increased degree and maybe lasting for longer time, right? Both in terms of the length as well as in terms of the quality, it is enhanced, right? But if it is one quality of mind, then that bliss was not there for you for how long? It started at this given point in time. What does it mean? For how long it was not there?
So you never knew it.
Exactly. That means from the time, and how big is the creation, how old is the creation? Please understand the logical fallacies in taking Vedanta wrongly, because otherwise you will be just hooked on to concepts which are not accurate and you will be misguided listening to Vedanta. Vedanta, you have to be very sharp in your thinking. Okay? This is why we tell you what it is not and why it is not what we want, why it is so. Okay? So therefore, this kind of a thing, as Saloni says, if your bliss starts now, Okay? That means it was not there for not only your lifetime, which is let's say 50, 40, 60 years, but it was not there for
Previous one.
previous lifetimes. And how old is the creation? Billions of years ago. Okay? So that means for billions of years ago it was not there. Then what? Any experience comes, how long does any experience last? For billions of years it was not there. Okay? Now that particular experience, mind is such, you cannot prolong any experience. Please understand that. Okay? Try to prolong, even if you are feeling sad, right? Try to prolong one thought of sadness. You can't. Exactly. Really you can't. The problem is, why then do we think that I am sad for last 1 year? Because we have what? We build on thoughts. We have one thought, then we have a related thought, then we have a related thought. So we just actually, but one thought as such does not last for more than a few seconds. This is the law of the universe. Okay? So therefore, any experience that you are talking about, anybody else is talking about, the so-called bliss, which is what? Heightened happiness, is a product of mind, and it cannot last for more than a few minutes. The next minute when you are thinking about something, that bliss goes away, right? So therefore, that is just like any other experience. Here we are talking about limitlessness. What does limitlessness mean?
You're not bound by anything.
Yeah, exactly. You're not bound by any condition. It's not limited in time. It is not limited in experience. It is not limited in space. This is what is meant by limitless. Okay? So therefore, limitlessness itself, and another thing which is very important, because if Atma is the truth of everything, okay, it is something which pervades everything and it is free from everything. It is essentially free from all the different experiences of not only my Sukshma Sharira, but Sukshma Sharira of everyone. When I say Ayam Atma is free from Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharira, it is not only my Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharira, it is what? Free from Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira of everyone. Okay? So that awareness is already free. It is never affected by what? Range of emotions that everybody feels. From a criminal to to a saint. Exactly. Just like this space, okay, seems to be enclosed by all these different what? This is what we call upadhi. Upadhi means it as though makes the space confined. Okay? Upadhi. So that means that space takes on the shape of a glass. This space as though takes on shape of a cup. That space as though takes on shape of a bottle. Okay? While as though taking it, is it ever confined to any of these different forms which seem to confine it?
No.
It never is, right? Everything exists in space. Space is not enclosed by any object. This is simple physics. Okay? Now, what is inside this glass, what is inside that cup and inside that bottle could be different. I have limbu pani, she has what? Tea, that has water. So that means what is inside is also all very different. Does space get affected by either the water or the tea or limbu pani? No. It is never touched by any of this. It is intrinsically free. It was never bound. Okay? It was never bound. It is never going. Now appearing in this shape, it is not bound. When this shape is destroyed, let's say you break this glass and you break that cup and you smash that bottle, are you really freeing the space? Space is already free. It as though limitation is gone. The visual limitation is gone. But space by its nature has always been free. Okay? So therefore, when we talk about Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, we are not talking about one particular quality of mind which is bliss or happiness that is completely free from it. Okay? Because that particular feeling that you get just comes in this countless flow of time. It has just come what? Now, which was not there for billions of years. You can't call it limitless. And once the body drops, any feeling that is there, it is all going to drop too. We are not talking about here an experience, we are talking about a reality, about the nature of life. As already free, it was never bound. It is never bound, but it seems to be bound. Why? Because of your conclusion that what? You impute on that awareness characteristics of the physical body, characteristics of the mind, and then you think that I am limited. Okay? So what Vedanta does is to make you see your true nature, which is already a reality. Whether you make a mistake or not is another thing, right? It always remains free. Just like the space always remains free, it doesn't depend upon what you think. You may think that it is bound. Does it affect space? You may think that space gets polluted. Does it actually get polluted? It doesn't depend upon your thinking. The reality is in keeping with what is. Okay? So this is what the Atma is, Anantam, limitless. Now, the next question is, if it is Anantam, then why this word Ananda is used? You have to ask me, right? You can always say Ananta. The word Ananda is used for a specific reason. Okay? It is all used from our own search. What are we searching for? We don't even know there is something called Atma which is limitless and all that. What are you searching for? Your happiness,
Yes.
your
Peace of mind.
peace, your happiness, your fulfillment. This is what is your search. Okay? Now, what happens is, where are you searching for this happiness? You think what you have done, the very fact that you are searching for happiness means you have concluded that right now you are not happy. That's your conclusion, right? And therefore, you have to engage in the world to get the happiness, right? So now, you attribute your happiness onto different objects, and those objects keep changing all the time. From the time that you were born till now, how many objects or people onto which you have attributed your happiness?
Countless.
Countless people. Has anybody produced that result? Nobody has. Right? So that means your search is for fulfillment, and you keep on what? Looking for that fulfillment through different things. Okay? Now, the thing is, you can't say that those people or situations or characters or whatever objects did not give you any happiness at all. You can't say that. Because if they did not give you any happiness, human beings are quite rational and they are quite smart. Right? They will just immediately figure it out and they will stop looking in that direction. Why do you think that even though we don't have our fulfillment from all these things, that we are still crazily behind those things? Why? Okay. Padi. So that means that objects, even if they don't give you the lasting happiness that you are searching for, it does give you what? Momentary happiness. This is the whole trick.
Impermanent.
Right? Yeah. It gives you, if it does not give you at all, hey, you will figure it out. It gives you momentary happiness, so therefore, what happens? You want it more. You want to either what? Prolong that experience, or you want more of it, right? Or you think now this is not good, but this will give me, so this is what? You keep on trying to extend that momentary happiness through your engaging in the world. Okay, so now if objects intrinsically, that means there is an experience of happiness which is momentary.
Yeah.
Now you have to figure out what is the source of that happiness. Okay? Because you do feel when you get something that you like, even though it doesn't last for too long, you still feel happy, right? So now you have to figure out what causes that experience of happiness. Can you say that that happiness belongs to the object?
No.
No. Why?
Because you are experiencing it.
Excellent. So Saloni says that actually even though when I get something that I want, okay, and I have been really thinking that this thing will give me the happiness and I got it and I do feel happy, but then she's saying no, but the source is not that object.
Right.
Yeah. So what happens? Right? Now let's go one step further and substantiate logically why that object does not give happiness. Okay? Because if that object gave you happiness, then that object should give you happiness at all
For all
times.
times, yeah.
Not at all. Right? So therefore, and it should give everybody else also happiness. Equal. Is it true? No.
No.
Right? So that means you may love something but somebody else may hate it. So that means you cannot attribute happiness to that given object. Okay? And you yourself, in the morning you really want to have some food that you love and then you want it and then you want after lunch the same food what? You don't even want to look at it. Okay? Just in one day, not even over a period of time. So that means you cannot attribute happiness to that object. Because if the source of happiness was the object, everybody would feel happy and you would also constantly feel happy in connection to that object. Now, what Preeti is saying is that happiness is not in the object, then what is the second thing?
In you.
It is in you. Okay? So now, the question is, if it is already in you, then you will not be searching. Right? Your whole search is for all happiness, right? Because if you already felt happiness, there is no search. Everybody will be just enjoying life. Behind every pursuit, the very fact that you are searching for happiness means that you are not feeling happy. So you can't say it is in you either. So neither it is in object, nor it is in you, and you still have the experience of happiness. Where does it come from? It comes from one thing, which is, right, what happens is generally the you, the I am, right, is always what? Lacking. I want. There is one, in classical music, you have a singing going on and you have one Shruti. Shruti, which is one thing which continues. So throughout our life, we have one Shruti, I want. What I want keeps changing, but I want continues. Right? That means there is a lack. Then at different points in time, you attribute, hey, this will fill the lack. This will solve my problem. This will make me happy. So then different things keep changing. What happens in the experience of happiness is that this I want, which is a continuous Shruti that is going on, okay? Now you attribute it to one given object at one given point in time. Let's say you love clothes. So some clothes that you buy. Okay? So when you get this designer clothes that you buy, what happens?
You feel happy.
Exactly. You feel happy because for the time being that
Fulfilled.
I want, exactly, that seeker has got what? The sought.
Fulfilled.
Exactly. There is an alignment of seeker and sought. That leads to experiential happiness. Okay? But the problem is that this seeker, once I get that designer dress and I wear it maybe for the first time, or I go to a party and I see somebody else wearing even better, then all my happiness goes. Right? So therefore, again the seeker has re-emerged. Right? Again the seeker has re-emerged and what? Trying to desperately get something which is sought. So this is why the experiential happiness is a result of what? The seeker and sought temporarily aligned. They come together temporarily, which leads to experience of happiness. But by this process, the seeker keeps coming. What is one way that seeker is taken care of forever? That I want.
I have.
Exactly. So the only way to solve this problem of what seeker-sought alignment is what? That get rid of my sense of lack forever, and that only comes through knowing myself to be limitless. You see, when I think I'm limited, so insignificant, I need different things in the world to make me happy. But if I discover that I am not the physical body, not the mind, and not what? My capacity of my senses, I am that awareness which does not have any boundaries. Just like the space does not have any boundaries, I am much more than what I think. Then what? That I want will go away. This is why it says it is Ananda Swarupa. Ananda Swarupa means that I lack, that seeker will be satisfied forever. The seeker will be satisfied because the seeker discovers that I am already full. I have no boundaries. This is why it is not a bliss, it is knowledge. The knowledge of I resolves that seeker forever. The seeker sought alignment that I am what? Seeking through experiences once and all, for once and all, it is solved by knowing that there is nothing to seek, I am full. From then on, many people ask this question, okay, so now I understand that I am full, I am limitless, that means that I will stop doing any action? Because all my actions are for what?
To seek the happiness.
For my pleasure
To seek
and for my
happiness.
fulfillment. Now I have got my fulfillment by
so
knowing
then
my true nature, so why should I engage in the world? This is the logic people ask. This is the next question. The answer to that question is that there is no rule that you have to engage in the world to only fill the lack. You can engage in the world out of your fullness. We don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Because the only way that we engage in the world is to what? Want. I want, because I cannot stand that inadequacy, lack, limitation, somehow everything not being in its place. So the only way I know to engage in the world is to what? Get rid of it. So once I solve that problem, people think that, no, I don't need to engage. Hey, you can engage. In fact, you can engage with a lot more freedom. And you are able to give, and you really become a contributor. That's when you really become a contributor. And that's when you don't depend upon the world. Yeah? When you don't depend upon the world will come to you. When you are after it, things keep going away. This is the trick of Vedanta. Okay? So therefore, what you have to recognize is that this alignment of seeker and sought that I'm thinking, I'm trying to solve, can only be solved permanently by me knowing my true nature. Once that is known, in fact, all my creativity, everything, all my talents, I can unleash and I can do so many things in the world because I don't depend upon the world to fill what? My sense of what? Healing, but then emptiness, exactly. So therefore, anybody who portrays a spiritual person as staying away from the material world doesn't know what the person is talking about. In the vision of Vedanta, there is no such bipolarity. There is no such thing called spiritual and material. All that is here is one reality, which is limitless, which is manifesting in many different names and forms. We are not talking about staying away from anything. We are talking about what? Handling everything with a proper perspective. Once your perspectives are taken care of, you are free. It is like as a child, okay, you are playing a game of marble, okay, and somebody takes away your marble, what happens to you? You start crying and you want to fight with this person and you are angry or whatever. As an adult, if you are playing marble and your son or your daughter comes and takes it away, you start crying?
No.
No. Is it that you have to have this rule that marble is a material world and you have to be above it? No. Right? You play with marbles, you see marbles for what they are. You enjoy it. Okay? The child cannot handle the loss of marble because of what? Yeah. The child has imputed so much more value onto marble than what belongs to the marble. Right? As an adult, if you can just treat everything in this world as it is, right, with its own proper value. Please understand, because I don't want you to think that being spirituality means I don't have to be interested in money and all. Money, according to the Vedic culture, is a Lakshmi. We don't look upon it as something which is material. We look upon it as one of the manifestations of divine. Hey, you have Diwali and people worship Lakshmi, they welcome Lakshmi. We don't have this problem of, oh, this is something that I need to shun. Money is a Lakshmi and it is a resource and you have to have done a lot of punya to have that Lakshmi with you. You only have to have proper relationship with it. If money becomes your only goal in life,
It's a means.
it's a means, absolutely. If it becomes your only goal in life, then what happens? You are willing to cut corners, you are able to cheat people, you are able to... That becomes a problem. That is a problem. Why that becomes a problem? Because you are giving more value to money than what it has. You attribute your happiness onto money, which it cannot give you. If money could give you happiness, then the richest person will be the happiest person. Is it true? Not true. Okay? I have seen over and over again, every human being is a human being. Each human being has one source of pleasures and one's own challenges. There is no human being who is exempt from it. Whether you have a lot of money or whether you have no money, it is always the same. Everybody is struggling in some way. So therefore, this overvalue is a problem. What do? We move from one extreme to the other. Either money is the only thing in my life, or I say, oh, money is material and this and that and I have to stay away from it and all. We don't have proper perspective to life. Proper perspective is, it is a resource, it is a means, and it is a valuable resource. It can make me do many things, right? Have a comfortable living, enjoy food. There is nothing wrong in all of that. Okay? To have a finer taste of food, there is nothing wrong in that. It can educate me and my children, and I can buy books. It is very useful for me. Okay? If I feel I have too much one, I can use it for the benefit of so many people. It is a resource and I have to learn how to handle it wisely. Now, the problem becomes that if I impute my happiness onto money and this mad search for money or pursuit of money, not keeping anything else in perspective, that is what brings unhappiness. So the whole life is about what? Putting every object in its own place. Your success is very important. My teacher, I wanted to study Vedanta for 3.5 years when I was in my early 20s, and I had just got a job. And my teacher said, you need to stay and you need to work because you need self-nourishment. We think that, we all have some emotional challenges and all that, and we come to Vedanta to solve our emotional problems. Then most of the time. Very few people come in search of the absolute reality. What is the truth of my existence? What is the truth of the cause of the universe? There are people who come because they really have that innate, desire, the search for why am I here, right? But most of the human beings come because they have some issue or the other, and they don't quite know how to handle that issue. Most of them. Okay? Now, what happens is that you use Vedanta, your fullness, you are limitless, to what? Solve that little problem of theirs. Yeah, exactly. Right? So that means whatever Vedanta says, they just kind of fit it to solve their little small problem. So that means you keep on receiving Vedanta, the totality is not captured because your mind is interested only in some small thing that you are not comfortable with. So that means you distort the whole vision to fit your thing. Yeah, you keep on distorting. So that means there is no real there is some receptivity, but that receptivity is limited to what you think, right? Or what people also do is to what in psychology they call, which is called this whole process of bypassing the emotional life, which is called dissociation. In psychological term, we call it dissociation. Dissociation means I have this emotional, let's say, challenge, and I feel sad, or I feel angry, or I feel anger, or I don't know, fear, whatever. Okay? Then I use Vedanta and I say, oh, awareness is always free from whatever the mind. Mind is Sukshma Sharira. Now you have all these terms. Right? Mind is Sukshma Sharira. I am Satchidananda Atma. And this is not me, which is a fact, right? But what is very important is we saw at the beginning of Tattva Bodha, there is a preparation. In that preparation, what did we see? You can't just ignore all these things that are happening, you need to correct it. Wherever there is a distortion, okay, you need to correct it at that level. You can't bypass. Nobody, in fact, if one is trying to use Vedanta to bypass one's personal challenges, Vedanta will never work. It will work maybe in some way, but not totally. The extent to which it should work, it will not work. So what Vedanta says is, yes, that there is this emotional challenge, but for that emotional challenge, you deal with it at that level. What is the level? Can you say, oh, awareness is already free and awareness is, do you say that? No. You say, this is an emotional challenge. In the relative world, where am I working? I'm working with the laws of dharma and laws of karma. This is the reality at that emotional level. What can I do? And laws of psychology. These are all the laws within which we operate. So you first need to understand the laws, right? Because even though you are awareness, right? But your mind is not only what imputing I onto this, and it has created one whole big distortion, and your whole existence is all entangled. So you first need to relatively undo this tanglement by understanding few laws. 3 laws you have to understand: laws of dharma, laws of karma, and laws of cycle. These 3 laws are extremely important to bring some relative sanity in your existence.
Which is the third one?
Psychology.
Psychology. Okay? Law of dharma means that at this point in time, this situation has arisen for me. What is a proper response? That is your free will. Okay? You have to use your free will, and the framework we saw last time, the framework is 3 different aspects. One is what we call Samanya Dharma. Samanya Dharma is following the universal ethical values. Universal ethical values, the way we define it is that nobody has to teach you. Values that nobody has to teach you, you know intuitively. I don't want to be hurt, I don't want to be cheated, I don't want to be lied to. A small child in Africa knows it. In New York, somebody growing up in very sophisticated Manhattan knows it. And growing up in India also, every human being knows it. So that forms the very basis of my being. Because it is the law. It is the law of dharma. And every human being senses this law of dharma. Okay? So this is what we say is the first criteria. The second criteria is you are not isolated in this world. You are connected to this world to so many different forces and so many different individuals. So then, looking at your specific responsibilities and what is required at that point in time, that awareness is what we call Swadharma. Samanya Dharma, Swadharma. Okay. The third thing is, this Coimbatore, and the third thing was that we talk about it, then I will just put it back to psychology. The third thing that the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads talk about, and that is what we call Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha, because it's not just enough to do your part, you can always move on and become a contributor. Okay? So that is the third level. Anytime you work on being compassionate, okay, or caring person, you don't have to be. But it requires certain effort on your part to grow into that person. That also is one more level of your development. Okay? So therefore, then you rise above just your normal duties and you try to make a more profound contribution to something which is meaningful to you, something that you feel that you have the skills and you have the capacity. Okay. So this is what this time when I did a retreat in Coimbatore, a psychiatrist came, Savita's husband, and he is one of the, I think, quite a well-known psychiatrist. He's a medical doctor, and he runs a medical center to help. So he has helplines so that people are in crisis situation and all. So it's probably one of the biggest centers to help people.
But Dr. Boston?
No. What he said is, in psychology, they talk about, and when we listen to Gita, he said it's really what we are moving to, because there are certain emotions that we have which are what instincts, right? Instincts every human being has. after that, you become a little bit more responsible, you're duty based or whatever. This is what he says, that it requires some effort on your part, right? Because generally people are just so driven by instincts, they don't sit and think a little bit. When you begin to think about your universal, what are your responsibilities, what is the universal value, your responsibility to follow it. This is what he says, evolution of the human brain, utilization of the human brain to a finer degree, and this is what they place it in the human brain, and they call it cortex. There is a place they actually localize. There is an instinct in the brain where most of the time you operate from. Then there is a cortex where if you have little bit evolved, if you have thought through life a little bit more, and you are a little bit more responsible, then that is what we call cortex. There is a place, this is where finer emotions and finer behaviors get processed. Okay. Then he says that the people that we think about are great leaders, great saints, or people who are wise. There is a third center which the psychiatrists have discovered, and it is what we call neocortex. Neocortex is not just doing my duties and responsibilities, making one more level of intervention, which is what? Contribution. Okay. What can I do? I have taken so much from the world, what can I do to give back? Okay. So the compassion, care, these are all the things which are what we call neocortex. So that means the whole evolution or maturity of human being that we talk about, it is moving from what? Instinct to cortex to neocortex. And this is, he says, I see Bhagavad Gita doing it so amazingly beautifully. First, become aware of some basic universal values. Go ahead with whatever you want to do, don't transgress that. First. Second, hey, now be a little bit more nuanced. Look at yourself as what? One entity connected to so many different things, and you have duties towards all these different people and the society that you are connected. The third thing is not just duty, what can I contribution? Moving in your goal, and this is what you need to do, because only when you have gone through that whole process, then your limitlessness, which is your true nature, your psyche can understand. From instinct to that final reality, the gap is too much. So there is this whole human growth which all happens at the level of mind before this final reality is understood. This whole process is what we call preparation. This preparation is what we call Antakarana Shuddhi. Antakarana Shuddhi means in order to understand your true nature, you need to apply your mind. And if the mind is so projecting, is only concerned about small things in life, it cannot hold this big vision. Or it will apply that big vision only to suit one's own little situation. It is like, telling the electronic engineer, can you fix my bulb? Right? Because what he can do is so much more, and what you want him to do is what? Something so little. It is same. Vedanta has this huge solution to your very basic fundamental the problem of human existence, and you want to apply it to what? My little situation. Yes, your situation is included, your responses are included, and you have to help yourself with that. Of course you have to, okay? But it is not only for that, it is for much bigger and much larger purpose. So use it. So in order to use it, you need to develop your mind so that it can use it. Move from instinct to cortex to neocortex.
That's called Antakarana Shuddhi.
Antakarana Shuddhi. Karana means instrument. Antakarana means something, your inner instrument, which is your mind, your faculty. Okay? And Shuddhi means evolving it more and more so that it becomes finer and more responsible.
What was the second thing you said in Dharma? The first thing was
Universal
Universal
value.
value.
The
Second
other
one
one
is
which I
Swadharma.
said is Swadharma.
Huh.
Swadharma, there is a concept that, okay, one thing is that I'm not lying, I'm not cheating or whatever, but I am in this universe, okay, and I'm related to many different people, and I have to play many different roles, right? So that means I'm playing the role of a child with reference to my parents, I'm playing a role of a parent with reference to my own children, I'm playing a role of a friend with a friend, I'm playing role of an employer or an employee depending upon, So I play so many different roles and each role has specific responsibilities. So I also become aware of that when I do something like that. So that is what I